Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. With years of real world experience in high stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences. This podcast contains explicit language, dark themes, and real conversations that are not suitable for children and may be triggering for some individuals. If you choose to continue, do so knowing this content is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good Friday night so far. I just finished watching, as I'm sure some of you, the live debate between two of Walker County, Alabama's sheriff candidates, J.C. Poe and Jason Akins. And we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll probably just go ahead and get started on talking about that a little bit. Not going to talk about it too much. It was pretty uneventful, but it was a great debate. I just didn't see anything shocking that I feel needs to be addressed, but some of you may have. So feel free to ask questions about that. And the main topic of tonight is probably going to be on Walker County, Alabama's coroner, Joey Vick, who had apparently filed a lawsuit against a female and a church for defamation. And now the female, who was claiming publicly that he had SA'd her when she was a minor, when she was 14 years old, now she has came back with a countersuit, suing him for the actual SAing of her when she was a child. So these elected officials in Walker County, Alabama, this is all just blowing me away. It is absolutely crazy that we have this much drama with elected officials in one county. It's crazy. But anyway, we're going to go over the suits on that and go pretty in depth on that. And then we'll more than likely talk a little about the ramp as well. So as far as the debate, it was hosted by Michael Fleming, who is over Criminally Curious podcast. Make sure, if you're not following him, make sure you are. Make sure you do. You can find him on Facebook under Criminally Curious podcast, and also YT, and also TikTok under all of those. But he's a legit, amazing investigator, very intelligent man. I've always been impressed with his work. And if you're familiar with Secret's True Crime podcast, he was the main investigator for that podcast. But he is the one who hosted the debate, and he did an amazing job. I was very impressed with that. And overall, between both candidates, and oh, by the way, current Sheriff Nick Smith was also invited to be part of the debate and refused. That, I wouldn't care what else is going on. If he had an impeccable record and he refused to do a live debate between the people running against him, you lost my vote right there. Because that tells me you're scared. That tells me you are not confident. That's a big, big mess up to not do that, no matter what. Big time. But yeah, he refused because he's scared. Yes, Annie. We did get good news out of Arkansas, out of Lonoke County this week. Thank you for bringing that up with Aaron Spencer. Very quickly, we discussed it a little bit Wednesday night on that Aaron Spencer's defense team had filed some motions, and I believe yesterday or today I think it was yesterday, the judge ruled and pretty much approved all those motions. So very, very good day in court for Aaron Spencer and his defense team. That case looks a lot more promising now with an actual real judge that has morals and ethics and is not corrupt. But that's really good news. So they're going to allow the expert witness to testify, and I know that was approved, and there was a couple other things. I'm probably going to do a podcast on it in the next few days to go over all those details to update everybody. But definitely good news. So back on the debate, I was impressed with both of them, honestly, with their answers. My biggest issue with J.C. Poe is his age. Nobody will convince me that he is physically able to do a grueling job like that and be a sheriff. You just won't convince me of that. If he was 20 years younger, I would say, hey, it's a toss-up. Again, I was impressed with both of them. He's too old. It's just that's a job that you have to be at the top of your physical platform, if you will. Because as sheriff of Walker County, Alabama, you don't get to sit behind the desk. You're going to have to be out literally kicking indoors yourself. Foot pursuits, all those things. Which means there's a chance that you will be involved in OISs. You can't do those things at his age. There are some people his age that I would say absolutely, but not a lot. But he is not one of those. Plus, anyone that spent over 30-something years in law enforcement, but it's time to go home. It's time to go home. If you spent 34 years in law enforcement and you're still wanting to do it, one of two things. One, you are completely mentally unstable. Or two, you just didn't work that much all the years you've worked. There's no in between there. There is no in between. That's too much for your mental capacity to handle for more than 34 years. I don't care what anybody says. It's too much. But you put that on top of, again, his age and his physical shape, conditions. It just is what it is. Again, I'm not saying his mind's not still sharp, but your body's got to be as sharp as your mind in that business, and it's just not there. So I can't. There's no way I can endorse him. There's just not. And I hope, which I'm sure he will, but I hope he doesn't take that personal. I mean, he probably couldn't care less what I think anyway, but I hope if he hears that, I hope he doesn't take it personal, because it's not personal towards him. It's just, it's not a job you can do at that age. But I'm going to give you my completely unbiased opinions, and it's just a few on the debate. There was a question about, anyway, the question led to showing up for court, because Walker County has a history and a very bad problem right now of their deputies just literally don't go to court. And so tons of their cases get dropped all the time. You can't do that in law enforcement. If you arrest someone, if you physically arrest someone and you put handcuffs on them and you take their freedom away and you put them behind bars, and then you won't even go to court and the case has to be dropped, guess what you just did? You violated their constitutional rights. Every time. And for you to do that and not show up for court tells me you do not understand how serious it is to arrest someone, which is a big problem. That's a big problem. Taking someone's freedom completely away, no matter if it's for an hour or 10 days or 20 days, is a big deal and should always be a big deal. And if you are in law enforcement right now and you have gotten to that point to where it's not a big deal to you, you need to take a step back and reflect and either fix that or get out of the job, get out of that career. And I've had that discussion with some officers before, because I've seen it. I'm like, look, you got to either fix your mindset on this or it's time to go home. But Walker County has a huge problem with just not going to court. And some of them have used the excuse that they weren't getting paid. J.C. Poe's answer to that was, whether you're getting paid or not, that's your duty. That's not an excuse, and you have to go to court. And I 100% agree with that. He is very correct in that. Now, should you get paid? Absolutely. If you're not getting paid, that's your leader's fault. That's Sheriff Smith's fault 100%. No way around that. Because I guarantee you Sheriff Smith is getting paid. And if you're not making sure that your employees are getting paid what they're supposed to be paid, you are failing as a leader. No excuse. None. Now, Nick Smith will have 10,000 excuses. I guarantee you it's not his fault. In fact, I've heard him say that. He will not take accountability for that. That's ridiculous. If I am sheriff and my deputy is working, and for whatever reason they're not going to be able to be paid, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the money out of my own freaking pocket and pay them. That's your job as a leader. That is your job as a leader. If you own a business, that's your job as a business owner. Make sure your employees are getting paid what they have been promised they will be paid. Simple. But again, not being paid, no excuse. You don't have a you don't have an option. If you're subpoenaed to be at court, you have to be there. I don't care if you worked all night. We've all been there. I don't know a police officer in that career that hasn't worked a whole night shift and had to sit in court all day. It happens sometimes. It sucks. It's part of it. But anyway, I liked his answer on that. He was right spot on. I like that attitude. Um, my other opinion is very picky. I understand that. It's not a big deal. But I am very big on professionalism, especially with a place like that that needs cleaned up, because that's going to start with 100% professionalism. It's a really big deal. You want a live debate in front of your voters like that, dress very professionally. Wear a tie. It's a big pet peeve of mine. If you're testifying in court, wear a tie. You're in a suit and tie every single time you're in front of a jury. Big pet peeve of mine. That's the only two opinions I have on that. Honestly, I mean, again, most of the debate was unremarkable. Nothing that shocked me. Nothing I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Like I said, I was pretty impressed with both of their answers. I didn't watch every minute of it. I had to miss about 15 minutes of it. So unless there's something that happened in that 15 minutes of it, but I recorded it, so I'm going to go back and catch that part at a later time. But unless I missed something in that, then again, the main reason that I cannot endorse J.C. Poe is his age. So I am completely endorsing. My endorsement is for Jason Akins for the sheriff of Walker County. No, I mean, either one of them will be 20 times better than the sheriff they have. As long as you don't vote Nick Smith back in office, you've won. As long as you don't vote Nick Smith back in office, you're going to see an improvement. But if, again, with J.C. Poe's age, for him to make it 4 years running an office like that, if he's actually doing the work he's supposed to be doing, he wouldn't be able to do it good. He just wouldn't. The ending pissed you off? What? I didn't notice anything in the ending. What exactly are you talking about, Priscilla? What's up, Natalie? But yeah, like I said, I mean, overall, I was impressed with both of them. All right. We're going to move on to this. Just, I would say it's crazy, but it's has to do with an elected official in Walker County, Alabama, so I can't say it's shocking. Just can't say it's shocking. But if you live in Walker County, Alabama, your coroner, a powerful elected official, a church minister is being accused of SAing a 14-year-old girl. Then, and let me be clear, this is allegations at this point, then suing her to shut her up. But she has now dropped a 33-page document in court that's blowing this whole thing wide open. Her name is Ivy Trotter. I believe she's a current nurse tech at Walker Baptist, which is in Walker County in Jasper. She is a Jasper native. And she filed her counterclaim on April the 28th of 2026, so just a few days ago, in Walker County Circuit Court. And it is explicit, detailed, and devastating. So Joey Vick, the current Walker County coroner, sued her and others for defamation after she posted on social media about him. And Trotter's response to that is every single word she said was true, and now she is suing him right back for essaying her as a child. So understand, she is not a child now. She is an adult, which is why I'm saying her name. Plus, she has made this public. So if she was still a child, obviously I would not be saying her name. But she's an adult. Like I said, she's a current nurse. And she has stated that the abuse began at age 14. And according to the filing, Vic used his dual power as a Church of God minister and elected coroner to get access to her. The abuse happened in hunting. Hold on. I need to let everyone know that a trigger warning. We're going to be talking about some very explicit things. And I will try to word it the best I can to keep it as clean as I can, but this is bad stuff. So if you're highly sensitive to this, this is your warning. This stuff is very explicit, but I think it's very important to talk about it. So there's your warning. But she stated the abuse happened in hunting sheds deep in the woods near Nauvoo Church of God, places you could only reach by hiking, on church property, in and around his coroner's office, which was connected to the same building where kids went to Sunday school. That's strange. What do they all got going on up there? The coroner's office is connected to a church. He even had a building out front where he had changed into hunting clothes. Perfect cover. Now, he allegedly asked a child, sexually, that's my word for that, sexually inappropriate questions, groped her, forced her to sit in his lap, all when she was a minor, legally unable to consent, obviously. And this wasn't one time. This happened on multiple occasions, multiple locations tied directly to his positions of trust. She told her older sister, her sister told their mom, she told her best friend, whose mother confronted Vic directly and warned other church parents, but Trotter didn't go to the local police. Why? Because of Coroner Vic's tight relationship with Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith. That's a logical fear. She feared they wouldn't help. They'd retaliate. I can almost guarantee you that's what would have happened. And that's sad to say, but I can guarantee you that's what would have happened. And like I said, the fear wasn't paranoia. It's very logical. The following describes another woman abused by Vic in his own coroner's office while seeking marriage counseling. This is just wild. Your coroner's doing marriage counseling? Okay. When she tried to report it, a police officer started following her around. Retaliation in real time. That's exactly what Trotter says kept her silent. Now, fast forward to early of April 2025. Trotter learns Vic might still be victimizing people. I mean, we know they don't stop. She posted on social media to protect others independently. No coordination. Vic sues her for it. And get this. Sheriff Nick Smith publicly celebrated the lawsuit against the alleged victim. That happened. Think about that. The current sitting sheriff of that county, where there is an ongoing investigation as to whether, well, there is definitely very big allegations against the current coroner. And then when the coroner sues the victim to try to shut her up, the sheriff publicly celebrates the lawsuit against the victim. Only in Walker County, Alabama. Trotter says that, plus the harassment campaign that followed, including attacks from Vic's own sons and anonymous accounts, shows a coordinated effort to silence victims. Now, after her post, Trotter gave a statement to the Alabama Attorney General's office. Another victim did too. The AG's office met with at least 2 women accusing Vic of essaying. Now, Trotter isn't just defending, she's going on offense with a 5-count counterclaim against Joey Vic, individually and as coroner. Sexually, I'm not supposed to say that word. SA and battery for what he did to her as a child. Assault for putting her in fear with his authority and isolating her. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Abusing a child. Hiding behind church and a badge. Then weaponizing the courts against her. Defamation because Vic's own public court filing falsely called her a liar. And he knew it was false. Abuse of process, just calling this what it is. A strategic lawsuit against public participation designed to punish her, bankrupt her with legal fees, scare other victims, and keep the truth buried. And we know Walker County, Alabama, most of the elected officials there will do anything to keep the truth buried. There's no lengths they will not go to. But this filing paints a pattern: multiple victims with matching stories. And these two victims, not like they were best friends or hung out or anything. Power abused in church. Seems like we've talked about that lately. Sounds familiar. But that could never happen. Surely, right? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic because this is exactly what's happening in the ramp, which is, it's not really a church, but it is a cult disguised as one. But power abused in church and government roles simultaneously. A sheriff's relationship that created a protective shield, harassment, retaliation, and a public official suing his own alleged victim for speaking. Now, Ivy Trotter is demanding the court dismiss Vic's case with prejudice, award her compensatory. I'm struggling. Compensatory. We're going to move on. And punitive damages, attorney fees, and stop this kind of legal bullying. She's represented by Richard Rice of the Rice firm in Birmingham. And this isn't just one lawsuit. That's not everything this is about. It's about whether powerful men in small towns can prey on vulnerable, then use the system to silence them when the truth comes out. And we have seen that very clearly with Sheriff Nick Smith there. Numerous times. So that's why it's not shocking to me that one of his great friends and another powerful elected official in that county is doing the same thing. Well, actually, in this case, it's alleged that they're doing it together. Victims deserve justice, not more trauma. And I can't imagine the trauma that she has already gone through and the other victim. And I would highly doubt they're the only two victims. I can't imagine the trauma they have gone through and then now having to go through all of this. But that is how powerful the elected officials in Walker County feel. They feel like they can do whatever the hell they want to, and they will, again, stop at nothing to silence you. And they will absolutely use their power to do that. Oh man. Power in Walker County, Alabama, power protects power. Now, I've got and this is 32 pages, so I don't know that we'll read all of it, but we're going to glance through it and pick out some of it. But I will. Hold on one second. Defendant Ivy Trotter denies each and every allegation and count of the complaint and demands strict proof thereof. Defendant Trotter states at the outset that the central factual premise of plaintiff's complaint that she made false allegations of S.A. is false. And she states the plaintiff did S.A. Trotter on multiple occasions when she was a minor child. Every statement made by defendant Trotter about her own abuse was and is true. Trotter is without sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief as to the truth or falsity of the allegations regarding plaintiff's residency. Okay, I don't know what that's talking about exactly, but so this talking about the Church of God. So Vic has also sued the Church of God. Hold on, let me pull that one thing up. Yeah, so the Terry Hart, that's what I was making sure. So we're talking about the defendant Terry Hart is the church official that is named in the suit against the Church of God. Now, Vic claims the church and its leaders wrongly or falsely handled the SA allegations against him. Specifically, he surrendered his credentials, his minister credentials, stepped down as a pastor after the allegations surfaced. According to Vic, he told a church bishop he was already planning to retire and didn't have the energy to fight the claims. Didn't have the energy to fight. You're accused of that and you don't have the energy to fight the claims? I call BS on that. Shortly after, Ryan Cagle, another defendant, released an audio recording of a phone call with church officials. In that call, church leaders apparently made statements about why Vic gave up his credentials, which Vic says was damaging or misleading. Vic is accusing the church defendants of things like defamation or spreading false information about him through their statements and actions. Negligent failure to train and supervise. Vic is saying the church leadership did not properly support him and instead contributed to harming his reputation by how they responded to the SA accusations. You know, I have a theory as to why they were treating it like that. Probably because they knew it was true. So if you're a pastor of a church and those kind of allegations are brought against you in a real church, in a normal church, and the church has really good reasons to believe they're true, then they shouldn't back you. But this BS about I don't have the energy to fight it, then he turns around and sues. So he didn't have the energy to fight the actual allegations, but he has the energy to sue them. Yeah. I'm not buying anything the man says. Nothing. Nope. So this is referencing some stuff in the original suit. So there's no sense in me talking about it because we're not going to know exactly what they're talking about. So let's move on. Defendant Trotter specifically denies participating in any conspiracy, plan, or scheme with any other defendant or fictitious defendant. Defendant Trotter's Facebook post of approximately April 6, 2025 described her own firsthand true experience of SA perpetrated by the plaintiff. She made that post independently of her own volition without coordination with any co-defendant or fictitious defendant and without any prior knowledge of what action, if any, Ryan Cagle would take. Defendant Trotter admits the plaintiff served as the elected coroner of Walker County. Defendant Trotter further states that plaintiff's status as an elected public official is a central reason why his conduct was a matter of urgent public concern. Defendant Trotter is without sufficient knowledge or information. That's back to another paragraph. Regarding Sheriff Nick Smith's attendance at plaintiff's church and therefore denies the same, Defendant Trotter firmly states, however, that the close relationship between plaintiff and the Walker County Sheriff was a significant reason why Trotter did not report plaintiff's SA to her local law enforcement. She reasonably feared that law enforcement would not act against plaintiff or would retaliate against her. The sad part is, I think the saddest part is, I don't think it would even matter if it was a friend of Nick Smith's. I don't think they would have investigated it because they don't investigate anything. I'm not sure where this comes in, but I'm guessing figure it out. Defendant Trotter admits that an inmate died in the Walker County Jail in January 2023. I want to see if I can find her original post. I was getting all this together, and that's when I learned about the debate about to come on, and so I got sidetracked. Now, the Church of God has also. Oh, well, thank y'all. The Church of God has also filed a countersuit. My team is on top of it tonight. Look at that. Oh, yeah, let's pull this up. All right, so here is Miss Trotter's post she made on April 6, 2025. I've debated on sharing this for a long time, but I think I owe it to myself and other victims to share my story. I started going to church when I was 11 years old. My mom's family attended and preached there, so it felt like home and a safe space for me. My dad had struggled with addiction for years. He and my mom got divorced when I was 12. My dad died when I was 13 years old. I was in a very bad and vulnerable state after dealing with his addiction and him passing. Our preacher at the time, Joey Vick, saw that and told me I would need a father figure in my life. Jesus Christ. So he wanted us to be closer. He would take me hunting, take me to football games, and get me to come over and swim at his house. I was 14 years old when he SA'd me. He did it multiple times when we were alone. I didn't really understand what was happening. I just knew how uncomfortable it made me. I told my family and we stopped going to his church. I'm now 23 years old. I'm bringing this up now because I know I'm not the only one. I've learned that it wasn't just me. I've now talked to multiple women who are also victims of Joey. I'm not just sharing my story for me, but for them. I hope that I can give other victims the courage to speak up also. It's something that wrecked my self-esteem, and it's taken me a long time to realize I didn't deserve what he did to me. And the other victims didn't deserve it either. That is heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking to read that. Man, that is tough. So she finally gets the courage to call him out and to make it public. And he turns around and sues her. I'm looking back through her post right quick just to see if anything stands out to me as far as analyzing it. No, it I don't see anything that stands out. I think that's a pretty true on face value. That's a true statement. I don't see anything that stands out. This I can't imagine everything she had gone through right at that time. And plus, that 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old time, that's one of the most stressful times for us growing up because we're starting to transition into some of our adulthood things physically and mentally. And school is always tough at that age because you're trying to fit in. And so right in the middle of all that, her parents divorced at 12, that's a tough age for that to happen. And then the next year, her dad died. And while she was grieving over that, this preacher swooped in and immediately started grooming her. Oh my goodness. Clay, what fear mongering are you talking about? Man, I think we pretty much got all the facts that are out. Yeah, she said her father had a drug addiction. Between reading her statement there and reading his statements, I didn't have the energy to fight the allegations. The most serious thing you can ever be accused of. You didn't have the energy to fight it, so you just stepped away immediately. He immediately stepped down. We know there is at least one other victim that has spoken out. And according to Trotter, she has spoken to numerous victims. Which, again, if he did that to one, then he did it to many. We know they don't just do that to one. Especially when they don't get caught. And especially when they're in two different positions of power. Which is probably why he was in those positions of power. It's probably why he got in those positions of power. Oh, so the other, okay, yeah, let's watch that. So my team is telling me there's another video here of another victim that has spoken out. Are y'all talking about from the Brandy one?
Good morning, happy Monday.
All right.
It's chilly today. It's like kind of raining, kind of not. There's going to be no sunshine, so it's cold. So I had to wear my cute little Easter. You know how I love these cute little. I'll forever love them. I don't care. Anyways, yesterday, I was over on the Book of Faces.
Hold on, I've messed up here. Here we go.
I saw where this true crime podcast that I'm friends with, where she has exposed a lot of things going on in Walker County, Alabama. That county's right below me, like 10 minutes from that county line. Anyways, grew up there. My dad's been a cop there my whole life in that county. Different agencies, blah, blah, blah. Always known about Walker County and how grimy and the Walker County Mafia. Anyways, it's just, there's good people in Walker County. There is. But sometimes the bad and the bad that's went on throughout the years really outweighs the good.
Yeah, I apologize for the volume. I've got everything literally turned up as loud as I can, so I can't make it any louder. I will get it downloaded, and if we have to play it again Monday, we'll do that.
Anyways, And I saw where she had shared a post from a young lady, and I was reading it, and I just got sick. I just felt so sorry for this girl. She'd finally got up enough courage, brave enough to call out. He's a piece of shit, but he really is a pillar of the community. Always been in law enforcement, a preacher, coroner, you know, someone that the community looks up to, and oh, do they put on a show. When I read his name, my stomach just sunk, you know. It was all, like I commented, all the true stories I could tell on this person since I was 16 years old. He was my daddy's friend. They were cops together. And when I turned 16, I was around him a lot. And he'd always say and do and touchy-feely, and, you know, you just laugh it off. And I have no answer. No reason. I'm not gonna cry. Why I always went back. You know, I blame myself. No is a word. You didn't have to, Brandy. But it was the attention. Let's just be honest. Oh, please. And up until I had Landis, I saw him a lot. And again, a preacher. Me and we went to his church. And me and Mother walked in one Sunday, and Landis maybe was 5 months old. I don't remember. She was little. And he came up to me and Mama, and he put his arm around Mama and looked at me and touched Landis. And he said, you know, Brandy, she's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. But it's crazy that she don't look nothing like me. Mother looked at me and he just walked off. Well, that was the last time my mother, I'd went back. Last time my mother stepped foot in that church. Anyways, nobody ever says anything. Like, there's rumors and the secrets and how he's always done. But nothing ever happens to him because, one, son-in-law is a very crooked, good lawyer. The position he's always been in. And he knows how, like, he's got the way that he speaks. The way that he speaks, silver-tongued devil. I swear he's the devil. Look, one of the last times I was ever around him, I'll never forget. He looked at me, and he always called me pretty girl. You know, pretty girl. It's kind of sad that I could have my way with you. I can be good to you, nice to you, mean to you, treat you any which way that I want to. There's really nothing you can do about it. I was like, what? He goes, let's just be honest, pretty girl. No one's going to believe a junkie over someone like myself. And when I swear he was the devil. He looked different. That it was just, oh God. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. It was just weird. And I remember I started, not like boo-hoo crying, like I'm just paralyzed. I can't say nothing but tears, just because I know he's telling the truth. Who was ever going to believe me? Because back then, at that time, I was. Nobody had ever called me a junkie, though. Up until that point. That was the first time I'd ever heard anyone with my own ears. It was always just a drug addict. Nobody had ever called me a junkie to my face. And when he said that to me, it just paralyzed me. And I remember tears. And I remember him coming and he wiped them and licked them anyways. And when he turned around, I just took off, never went back. He would text and everything, try to get me to come see him. And I finally blocked his number. There's hundreds. I know you're going to say, Brandy, I would almost bet my life, not hundreds, thousands of victims from the 80s up until recent that are victims of his, and nothing has ever happened because if somebody says anything again, because of who, and for the most part, he's always preyed on very vulnerable young girls, women, where something tragic has happened in their life, where they're really not pillars of the community. They're not really, society looks down on them, you know. Nobody's going to believe them. I mean, like he said to me, he could have beaten me, raped me, killed me, and nobody would have believed, you know. He knows what he's doing. But I just, after seeing that, and this girl, I mean, she showed her name, she told everything, and I know the girl's telling the truth because of what she said in it, because of the same, it's how he done me, it's how he's done so many other victims. I just hope and pray that finally, because there's a lot of things that are coming out finally in Walker County, with deaths and this and that, and people are not just sweeping it under the rug no more. And the thing is, he's always had a beautiful family. Beautiful wife that was a nurse. I think she retired anyways. I used to just look at his wife and want to be her. Like, just a beautiful, great family. He was all, you know, this in the community. Behind closed doors, I swear, the devil, I've never met nobody who's the devil. He is the devil. But he'll get up and preach every Sunday morning, looking out at his congregation, trying to find his next victim. Anyways, good morning, happy Monday. I just need to get that off my chest. I'd give anything to see him behind bars. I'd give anything. Anyways, I love y'all. We got TikTok shop stuff. It is what it is. Well, shit. One more thing. I know I'm putting myself at risk for speaking out. I really am. And my family knows that if I'm in good health. Nothing should happen to me. That if I come up, it's not fun. I'm being serious when I say this. I'm really putting myself at risk for finally speaking up, and I'm going to be talking to people about this, so maybe something can finally be done. This man be put away. But just know that I'm in perfect health. I'm in perfect health. I should live at least another 20, 30 more years. Real talk. Oh, well, shit.
Oh, Jesus. Just the fact that she has to put that at the end. If I was sheriff of a county and anyone in my county posted a video like that and put that at the end, I would personally go to them and say, we will protect you. Nobody is going to be scared of speaking out about anything in my county. Unfortunately, one of the people that she's scared about doing something about this is the sheriff himself. This man's a child predator. Where there's this much smoke, there's fire. It's hard enough to get a a victim to speak out. But we see it every time. And this is, I will always encourage a victim to speak out, but I will never, ever blame them for not. And I will never judge them for not. But when one victim finally gets the courage up and speaks out, it gives a lot of the others that courage, and then they will speak out. And that's what's happening here. So we have just so far at least 3 victims of his come out saying the same things about him. And when the allegations first came out, he immediately stepped down from being a minister. Immediately. Oh, I forgot. Let me turn this back down a little bit. And made this statement, I don't have the energy to fight the allegations. But he has the energy to sue some of the victims for speaking out against him. And you know one thing that makes Brandy's story, her word usage and everything, I believe her. But one thing that makes me believe her is she was honest about who she was back then. He absolutely made that statement to her that she said. Why is he not behind bars? Because of the county he lives in. Instead of Nick Smith opening an investigation into this when the allegations came out, he did this.
Good morning, happy Monday. It's chilly today. It's like kind of raining, kind of not. There's gonna be no sunshine, so it's cold. So I had to wear my cute little Easter. You know how I love these cute little. I'll forever love.
Instead of him opening an investigation into this when it came out, Nick Smith made this post. When Joey Vick filed the lawsuit against his victims trying to shut them up, this is the post that Nick Smith, the sheriff of that same county, made. Well, it looks like the fake accounts' identities will be brought to light through the legal system over the next few months. And trust me, that is what Nick Smith was talking about with this, because in the lawsuit, it talks about these fake accounts and getting the identities of them. That's what Nick Smith was worried about. Oh, yeah. And not long after he posted this, he deleted it. But luckily, I think it was Amber from Secrets True Crime Podcast screenshotted it before he did. So it's here forever. But instead of Nick Smith worrying about the allegations and investigating those, this is what he's worried about. Getting the identities of fake accounts. You know why he wants those identities so bad? I'll give you one guess. So he can retaliate. Why else would you want the identities of these fake accounts so bad? I've received death threats from fake accounts. I don't care enough about it to look into it enough to even try to figure out who they are. I don't even really care if they're from a fake account. That's why Nick Smith is so worried about the fake accounts. He wants their identity so he can retaliate. That's why he's not in jail, though. And don't let it slip past you how ironic. And one reason I know he made that statement to Brandy about you're just a junkie, no one will believe you. That's the reason I know he said that to her. Because that is exactly how they operate in Walker County. I need you to understand and put this together. This is a coroner, the coroner who investigates deaths, and the sheriff of the county teaming up against child victims. And why is it so ironic that he made that statement, that Joey Vick made that statement to Brandy about you're just a junkie, nobody will care, nobody will believe you, nobody will investigate you if you come up missing? Does that sound familiar? Because that's exactly what they do. If they think you are a drug addict, they will not investigate no matter what, whether it's an unsolved death or missing. If they think you are a drug addict, they will not put literally zero investigation into it because they do not care. That's how I know he really made that statement to her, because that's exactly how Walker County operates. And Joey Vick, the coroner, knows that. That's exactly why we have at least one unsolved murder in Walker County, that there was literally not even a picture taken of the crime scene. Not even one picture. Not from the sheriff's office, not from the coroner. You think that is going to get solved ever? No. Sadly, no, it's not. Because there is literally zero evidence of the case. None. No, it's not like that everywhere, Nancy. Trust me. County I worked in for 13 years, or almost 14 years, it was not like that at all. I can promise you that. I worked missing persons for 2 years. And I have one that's never been solved. And it is the only case I've ever worked in my entire career that I think about every single day that I live. Every single day. And we put everything into that. All the resources that are even possible, the hours, not just me, my entire unit, which we had about, I think, 18 investigators in CID at that time. We did everything we could. Unfortunately, apparently we didn't do enough because it's still unsolved. And guess what? Janet Hamner, which is her name, she was a drug addict. And during that entire investigation, from the day we got the report, that was never even mentioned. We never said that because it didn't matter. We couldn't have cared less that she was a drug addict. What we cared about is finding her. Writing someone off because they're a drug addict is about as low as it can get. I personally know numerous previous drug addicts that are literally changing the world today. A lot of them. I worked in narcotics for a long time. well over 90% of drug addicts, well over 90%, are legit good people. They just made a bad choice and a bad decision, and they continue to make that same bad decision. But when they're clean, they'll give you the shirt off their back. That's well over 90%. But in Walker County, if you've ever in your life used drugs, you better hope nothing happens to you there. Because they refuse to investigate it at all. That's a fact. Like, does someone honestly believe it's a coincidence that by far, most of the missing people, unsolved missing persons cases in Walker County were drug users? It's not a coincidence. That's because of exactly the statement that Joey Vick made to Brandy. You have no power in this county because you have used drugs, and we will just get rid of you. And nobody will care. And nobody's going to look, and nobody's going to investigate. And that's how it's been there for years. And the same sheriff in the same county is more worried about. He is more worried about finding out who is behind fake social media accounts than child victims. And do you know what Nick Smith's biggest campaign thing is? It's how much he is doing for addicts. He's their savior. That's what he says. He's their savior unless something happens to them. And if something happens to them, he literally doesn't treat them like they were a human. They don't. They do not treat them like they're human there. If you're a child predator, you get protected. You know, we have. Hold on, I want to put this POS's picture up because I need to be calling him out more. Because I want everyone to know who this guy is too. It's already on here. Yeah, it's already on here. Never mind. No, that's the video. I was trying to pull up a picture of Jason Hare. Well, yeah, we can watch that video. Because I want everyone to fully understand what Nick Smith thinks about predators. So, if you're not familiar with this is Jason Hare, who at this time was the chief of police at, man, I hope I don't get this wrong. Is it Carbon Hill? Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I think it was Carbon Hill. Cordova. I'm sorry. Thank you. Let me be clear. Cordova. He was the chief of police in Cordova, Alabama, which is in Walker County. Now, prior to him becoming the chief of police, because he had only been the chief of police for like 6 months, he was a school resource officer for the Walker County Sheriff's Office and worked for Nick Smith for years. And 6 months as the police chief, and this girl you see sitting in the chair is an 18-year-old brand new employee, straight out of high school, just graduated high school, her first real job being a dispatcher. And this is what he did to her. And there's no sound, it's just the video. She pushes him away, puts up the stop. He doesn't back off at all. In fact, he goes in more. And the video where her face is not blurred out, which I'm not going to play that for obvious reasons, but I've seen it. I have the video with their face is not blurred out where you can see her facial expressions. She is very, very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. It's very clear. She's sitting here working. He is right now rubbing his area on her. After she's pushed him away, he doesn't back off at all. Now he's leaning completely over her, rubbing his area on her. Now he grabs her head in a motion. She hits him. She swats him away again. And again, when the one where you can see her face, she is extremely disgusted and uncomfortable. And remember, 18-year-old, very first job, straight out of high school, and the police chief. The fact that she had enough courage to even push him off says a lot about her. Like, you need to understand how powerful he was over her. The police chief. Do you think she thought anything would be done? No. Luckily, she told a coworker and was very upset, and the coworker went and found the video and pulled it and showed it. And did the city of Cordova fire him? Well, of course not. They asked him to resign. Give me one quick minute, and I want to see if I still have something I'm wanting to pull up. And I apologize. This is how long it takes me to find anything on Walker County. I have literally got thousands of files just on Walker County, so it takes me a bit to find what I'm looking for. Nah, it's going to take me too long to find. I was wanting to pull up the statement that the Cordova mayor made about that, and it would make you just as sick as that video did, if not worse. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, I can't find it, but it the statement that Cordova's mayor put out said something like, he was put in a bad situation. Nobody would want to be put in the situation he was put in. And we all sin. Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, thank you, Deanna. Flesh is weak sometimes. That's what he said. Flesh is weak sometimes. But in his statement he put out, it was about 4 excuses for what Jason Hare did to that girl. So Why doesn't the FBI do an investigation? They actually are right now, and so far they have indicted a little over 30% of the Walker County Sheriff's Office, with hopefully more to come. This all leads back. This is all connected. So my point was, Nick Smith is not going to investigate a child predator. That man that you just saw in that video worked for Nick Smith for years. Not only worked for him, but Nick Smith had him in a high school working. He was the school resource officer. You're going to tell me that he didn't mess with any students, considering he so nonchalantly walked up to this girl and did what he did, knowing that it was very unwelcome and that she was extremely uncomfortable, and kept pushing him away? An 18-year-old girl? There's no telling how many victims he has from the school. There's not. I don't even know if any of that's the worst part, getting back to the Nick Smith side of this. I kid you not. And if some of you are hearing all this for the first time, you're going, at this point, in just a second when I say this, you're going to say, there's no way. There's just no way. Unfortunately, this is all very true. And I have the factual proof of all of it. That guy, Jason Hare, then just, team? Maybe a month ago, if that? I'd say within the past month, reapplied for the Walker County Sheriff's Office after that. And guess what? Nick Smith was going to hire him back. Nick Smith was about to hire him back. Luckily, somebody in the courthouse that day that saw what was about to happen gave that information to another very popular creator. They sent it to me. They posted it out to make everyone aware. I made a podcast to make everyone aware and talked about it for an entire live. And we made a difference. We screamed so loud that over the next week that Nick Smith finally saw, shit, I can't hire him back. And he didn't. They were trying to do it secretively. And if it hadn't have been for whoever in the courthouse is tired of all the mess and knew who to contact that would get the word out, he would have hired him back. After that, the same sheriff that is covering and protecting one of his best friends, the county coroner, that we know of, has at least 3 victims that have spoken out publicly now. Somebody on the YT said, why don't the FBI do an investigation? And like I said, luckily they are. And as of to date, they have indicted literally a little over 30% of the entire sheriff's office. And more than likely, there's more to come. And hopefully, Nick Smith himself, which I truly believe is going to happen. We will see. Now, he has been indicted by the state, him and his chief deputy, for hiring and employing and then lying about it to APOS, which is the Alabama Peace Officers and Standards and Training Commission, which is who certifies law enforcement officers in the state. They hired some deputies and gave them a badge and gave them a firearm and put one of them as a school resource officer and the other as a K-9 officer when neither one of them was certified at all. And in fact, not only had they never been to a police academy in Alabama and was not certified law enforcement officer, so they had no training. One of them had just moved from another state to where he was banned from law enforcement in that state. His certification in that state was stripped because of his conduct at work. And he moved to Alabama and tried to get certified here, and APOS said, no, we're not you're not going to get certified in Alabama. You're never going to be a law enforcement officer here. And Nick Smith hired him anyway, gave him a badge and a firearm, and made him a K-9 officer. And keep in mind, we're talking, all of this has happened within the past year. Within the past year. But Nick Smith and his chief deputy did get indicted over that because once APOS found out that he had employed these guys and they were out carrying out law enforcement authority, which you can't do, APOS asked them. They sent them a letter and said, are these guys deputies for you? And they said no. Or no, I'm sorry. They asked them and they said, APOS knew that they were. So APOS notified them and said, they are not certified, nor will we ever certify them. They're not allowed to be a sworn law enforcement officer in the state of Alabama. So you better let them go right now. And instead of them letting Neves McDonald, which was the guy from the other state that Nick had made a K-9, by the way, they spent thousands of dollars and sent him to K-9 school, knowing that he was not going to be allowed to be certified in Alabama to be a law enforcement officer. That's a whole other story. But APOS notified him, said you can't do that, and then APOS got back with him and sent him a letter and said, "Hey, are those guys still deputies, or did y'all let them go?" And Ralph Williams, the chief deputy, responded back to APOS and said, yes, they are no longer working here. Well, Neves McDonald was still a deputy there. He just lied to them. So he got indicted over that. Oh, my God. Sometimes I forget how crazy and deep this stuff goes into Walker County until I start talking about it again like this. It's like one thing after another and one thing after another. And now we have the coroner. We also have another deputy that was a deputy for Nick Smith. Hell, he may still be. Who was the mayor that I did the podcast on? The mayor of Oakman, Alabama, which is in Walker County. Well, that mayor was also a deputy with the Walker County Sheriff's Office working for Nick Smith. Well, while he was mayor, he was stealing a bunch of money. He stole a bunch of things. The town had a BMW, which I've still never understood why they had a BMW, but they had a BMW that belonged to the town that he was the mayor of, and he just gave it to his daughter, and that was her car. And his daughter was driving in that car, getting gas on the town's bill. I mean, all this stuff. So anyway, he got indicted by the state attorney general's office, but he was also a deputy for Walker County at that time. And again, does anybody know? I wouldn't doubt he's still a deputy. I don't even know if I've looked back at it, because there's just so much it comes up nonstop. I mean, it's just one thing. This is the craziest law enforcement agency I've ever in my life ever seen, by far. Are y'all talking about when y'all were talking about, so Joey Vick, the coroner, his son-in-law, the lawyer, just so happens to be Nick Smith's lawyer. Is that the comment you're talking about, Christy? Yeah. No, and thank you for letting me know that, because I did not realize that. His name's Tommy Carmichael. Now, the AG's office has done some things in Walker County since all this started coming out. They're the ones that stepped in and, they solved the Eric Cates case, which was an unsolved death there that Walker County had declared I can't say the word, so that he had self-unalived himself. When everybody knew that's not what happened. Like, it was not even, I don't even know how they got that from what the scene, and I don't want to talk much about that case because it's still going through courts, but they've arrested at least 3 people for that murder. But I don't want to mess that case up or anything, so I'm not going to talk much about it. But the AG's office is who finally came in and made something happen with that. And the AG's office is also who indicted and investigated and indicted the Oakman mayor that I was talking about. And I think the AG's office is also the ones who investigated and indicted the people over the water department that stole a ton of money. Yeah, that's in Walker County too. And also, if you're not familiar, we're talking about a county of 84,000 people. That's the population of the entire county. And you have all of this going on. And again, I think pretty much everything I've talked about tonight has all happened within the past year. Every bit of that. So we're just talking about a year's worth of stuff. And this stuff's been going on in Walker County for a long time. As I said, back when I was working, and this was before Nick Smith was the sheriff there. There was another sheriff who was extremely corrupt too, the previous sheriff. But when I was working, and we would go and do some work in Walker County. I was on a task force, and we knew that we could not work with local law enforcement, any of them up there at all, because we knew how corrupt all of them were. So we would literally have to sneak in, pretty much. I mean, we would sneak in the county, do whatever we were doing, and if we needed a search warrant or arrest warrant or anything, we had to go through the feds, because we knew we couldn't go through the local courts, because if we, for instance, we knew if we needed a search warrant and we went to the courthouse and got a judge to sign a search warrant there, that the people we would run the search warrant on would know about it before we left the courthouse. Because that had happened prior to my time. So we would sneak in, do what we're doing, and get out without ever notifying local law enforcement or anything, because some of them was some of the ones we was investigating. And that was before Nick Smith was the sheriff. So, this stuff's been going on in this county for a long time. And if you've never heard me talk about it, that's one reason, on top of everything else, but one reason that I will never shut up about Nick Smith and that I will call him out for everything he is because when he was running for sheriff in 2018, because I was still working then, I remember me and one of my partners at the time and mentor, who was born and raised in Jasper and still lived there. He knew everything about Walker County, all the corruption. But I remember me and him talking and me saying, man, this young guy that's running for sheriff, hopefully he'll make a difference. And then I heard him speak, and he was saying, oh, I'm changing everything, blah, blah, blah. We're getting rid of all this corruption. We're doing this and that. And I had hopes, and I was excited. I remember being excited about him getting sheriff. Truly. And I'm so embarrassed to say that, but it's the truth. But I was so excited when he won. I was like, oh, this guy's going to finally make a change in Walker County. I had such high hopes. And here we are. Not only did he not make it better, he's made it worse, literally. Everything he said was a complete lie and BS. Everything. A side story about the previous sheriff. A while back, I was contacted by someone. That's all I'm going to say about him, because I don't want anybody to figure out who I'm talking about. But I was contacted by someone, and they were telling me something that had allegedly happened and wanted me to cover. And this had happened in Walker County. And it sounded legit as far as everything they were telling me, and they were sending me a little evidence on it and stuff. But during the conversation at some point, they made this statement. Yeah, I wish, I can't even remember his name. What was the previous sheriff's name? Tyree. That's it. I wish Sheriff Tyree was still in office, because he was great. I worked for him, and man, he was great. And as soon as that person said that, I stopped listening to anything they said, and they held no credibility to me anymore. And soon after that, I hung up and never spoken to them again, and won't. Because anybody that says that about him, I don't believe anything they say. Because again, he was bad too. Yeah, that was one. Thank you, Christy. One of Nick Smith's campaign promises when he first ran was he was running on the promise that he would solve Eric Cake's case and sit down with Eric's mother, who is an amazing woman, and told her that to her face and smiled at her and shook her hand and told her everything he was going to do. And then he got in there and he did nothing. And that poor woman is the only reason that his case ended up finally getting worked by the AG's office and the state. And the only reason it got solved, because she was not going to stop, and she didn't. She was not going to let who did that to her son get away with it, and she didn't, but it's only because of her. And Nick Smith lied to her face, and she'll tell you that straight up. The fact that you can sit down with a grieving mother and smile and lie to them, knowing that you're not going to do anything. I can't even imagine that. Just don't tell her anything. But he was doing anything he could and everything to get elected. And it worked, unfortunately. But if something ever happens to me and Toby Stover gets a hold of it, I'm confident my case will get solved. I mean that true, and that's Eric Cake's mother. But if she gets a hold of it, she's not going to stop until something happens with it. But he used, very well put, Christy. He used her in his campaign. Hey, thank you, Deanna. That's a good point. Yeah, there is an amazing full podcast, like a whole season on the Eric Cates case. It's Eric and Gypsy was his dog that was unfortunately taken with him. But Secrets True Crime Podcast. If you're not following them, you're missing out. You can follow them on Facebook, Secrets True Crime Podcast, and then you can find their podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast. But go to Spotify and listen to that podcast. It's very well done. I mean, they put a ton of work and investigation into that. They were a huge reason to. I didn't mean to leave them out, but they deserve credit too. Amber and Michael Fleming deserve a lot of credit in Eric Cates' case getting solved too. But they did an amazing podcast. But go listen to that podcast. It is great, and it'll give you a feel of exactly how Walker County works too. You'll get a really good idea from that. And there's interviews on there where they interviewed Nick Smith back then, and you hear him say all this BS and make all these promises and just lie. You can hear it for yourself. But no, I've said numerous times the same thing that Brandy said, and the famous, if something happens to me, it better be investigated. I didn't do it to myself. And I'm very healthy, so I don't see me naturally going out anytime soon. So, yeah, no matter what it looks like, it better be investigated. But and if you're not following me, please hit the follow button or subscribe button, whichever platform you're on. I keep forgetting to put this little thing up where but I'm live streaming on multiple platforms, so and I try to get to every comment, but I can't. There's too many. So if you've asked me a question in the comments and I didn't get to it, I wasn't purposely ignoring you. I'm on multiple platforms, so I have 3 different comment sections to keep up with, but I try to get to as many as possible. But if you've asked me something 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, and I just didn't answer you, feel free to ask again, and hopefully I'll catch it this time. But yeah, if you're not following me, please do that. I really appreciate that. And then you can find I have a full podcast. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And also, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go do that. I'm trying to build that up. And you can find me on all of those under Agent D Baker. But I'm trying to build the YT up. So if you're not subscribing to me over there, please go do that. And again, that's also a good place where you can watch and listen to all my full podcast. And as all my podcasts are video too. I mean, it's just me most of the time, but they're all videoed as well. And if you happen to miss a live, they're always on. You can go back and watch all of my previous lives on the YT at any time. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Nancy. Absolutely. Nancy said, Derek, can we please give prayers to Will and his family on their journey to California? Absolutely. And if you're not familiar with what she's talking about Will Roberts and his parents, Jason and Brittany, are really good friends of mine. I've been friends with Jason for a very long time. His father, great people, amazing people. Will is an amazing kid. He has a really bad form of cancer that's pretty much all over his body now, but they're fighting it still. And he and his mom both made a video on social media pleading because they had found this research drug that had just been, the company that owned the patent to it at some point just stopped producing it. Big Pharma got a hold of it, but it was showing very promising results. But anyway, they made some videos and pled on social media, and those videos actually got all the way to Donald Trump, the president. He saw them, and with his help and RFK Jr.'s help and Dr. Oz himself called Will and his family and spoke with them. But they have got this drug back up for them, and they are going this weekend to California for him to start that. So pray for them. They've gone through so much, and I'm telling you, I'm not just saying this. They are great people, and his parents, Jason and Brittany, have both been in law enforcement for over 20 years. So I mean, they've done amazing work, and they're both very successful in that business. And they've protected you and your communities for, again, over 20 years. And they need our prayers for sure, what they're going through. They've already lost one child in 2013. And they don't deserve to lose another one. But Will's an amazing kid. If you're not following Brittany Roberts, she has a Facebook page. Make sure you follow her because she posts everything on there where you can keep up with it. Yeah, Brittany's video she did today. Yeah, Nancy, I agree. The most powerful video that she's ever seen. Brittany put a video out today talking about all of it. And it's just, I don't know how they're still walking around, either one of them, honestly, the things they've been through and gone through with all of this. It's been horrible. They're very strong people. A lot stronger than me, that's for sure. But I told this story the other night. I want to tell it again for people that wouldn't know. About a month ago, my son, he's really good friends with Will. They've grown up together. He had a little accident and we had to take him to Children's Hospital and he had to have an emergency surgery. Nothing serious. It was nothing serious. I mean, it just had to have an emergency surgery. But again, I mean, it wasn't life-threatening or nothing like that. Pretty minor surgery, but it's just something he had to have right then. And so we get him over there and they immediately get him into surgery. And once they got the problem fixed, they actually sent us home that night. And so about 4 a.m. in the morning, and again, it's a little over a month ago, we're on our way home from Birmingham. And Will calls my son to check on him. And it was amazing because what he was going through is absolutely nothing compared to what Will's going through. And that's what Will was worried about at 4 a.m. in the morning. He called and to check on him, and then not only did he call and check on him, he had him laughing. He had him laughing within a minute. He's just an amazing kid. An amazing kid. And they do have a GoFundMe. You can find it. Go to Brittany Roberts' page on Facebook. Make sure you go to her page with the blue check mark. And you can find their GoFundMe on there because this is costing a lot of money. A lot. They needed to raise, I think, a little over $500,000 for this medicine. I know they were close to that. But more will always be better because they've been going through this for a year now almost. And financially, this has cost them a lot of money. So if you can give anything, I promise you they would be very appreciative of it. And it's for a great cause. But you go to her page on Facebook, Brittany Roberts, and find their GoFundMe. She also has her Venmo and Cash App and stuff posted on there too. But just make sure you go to her page. And the reason I keep on saying that is because there are evil people in this world that have created fake ones acting like they're Will and his family, fraud ones, which is a whole other, the hell is wrong with people. They also had, oh my goodness. From the time he first got sick, a lot of people had given them money, and they had a lot of cash literally saved in a safe in their house. And they had hired some construction people to come in and make their house wheelchair accessible because they had Will lost half of his leg during the first part of his cancer journey. And these people, some of the people that was on this crew that came in and did some work on their house, saw they had this safe and had learned that they were going to be out of town that next week in Houston at the cancer center. And they broke into their house and stole all their cash. Again, those people will have to face God one day. And it will not be worth it to them, I'll promise you that. But they lost a lot of money that day. It's just ridiculous. Oh my God. Shoot. Lisa's saying he may have had another setback this evening. Oh my goodness. Let me bring this up so everybody can see her page. So if you're looking for it, you'll know what to look for and see it. Where is this? Yeah, but this is their Facebook page, Brittany Battles Roberts. And that's Will. But I was looking to see what, because Lisa said that they've possibly had a setback this evening, so I was going to see. That's the video she posted today, and when you get time and need a good cry, you go watch that because it's powerful. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see anything on here, Lisa. But I mean, I'm not doubting you. I don't know. I'll keep y'all updated though. Um, yeah, the video she did today is very powerful, and she's actually sitting at their first child they lost's grave. Okay, we got to talk about something else. It's just they're very strong people, and Will's an amazing kid. Pray for them, and again, if you can give, please do that. Have I done any work in Montgomery County? I don't. I mean, I have, but it's not. It's been a long time ago, and it was small stuff. I don't think I've worked anything real big there or a lot there. Like, I think maybe just surveillance and stuff like that is the only things I've done in Montgomery County at times. Jess says Karen Wheaton got served with a lawsuit from one of the victims. Is hold on. Let me see if somebody else is, because I've got some really good sources that usually keep me up to date on that stuff. Is Melissa on? She may have already got off. It's late. I'm so invested. Why? What are you ask? What are you saying I'm invested in? Give you my story. What? I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Can you be more specific? This corruption. I just want to hear how you feel bad about this. I mean, I guess this is what you're talking about. I worked in law enforcement for just under 17 years, and most of that was in investigations. And part of the time I was in investigations, I worked with some task forces a lot, and I ended up working on like 4 or 5 pretty big corruption cases in the state on different sheriffs. Like, I've done some work, not a lot on any of them, but I've specifically worked on 4 previous corruption cases on sheriffs in Alabama, and all of them ended up going to federal prison. And then I worked some corruption cases on some other authorities. And so, anyway, I've been interested in corruption cases since then. And then also, I hate corruption. I hate corruption. I hate dirty cops. I hate dirty politicians. I hate corruption. Yeah, so Karen Wheaton has been served a lawsuit. So, which is what I figured was coming. And I I would bet many more coming from numerous other victims. What do I think about Kenny Hallmark? I mean, I'm not going to say he's corrupt. I don't know that. I have no reason to think that, but I don't like the way he's done some things. But again, I'm not saying he's corrupt. It's just he does things. I think part of it is he doesn't know what he's doing sometimes. He doesn't have the right kind of experience and training. But again, it's nothing personal towards. I don't know him personally. And again, I'm not saying he's corrupt or anything. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm not saying he is because I don't know that at all. But a few things that I do know about him, I don't like the way he's handled things. He's not handled them right, that's for sure. But there's a big difference in handling something wrong and being corrupt. Your ex-husband's son is a deputy for the Walker County Sheriff's Office. And I don't doubt that there's a few. I don't doubt that there are a few people that still work there that are, not horrible. I don't doubt that. I have a hard time, and I got in this discussion today with someone, I have a hard time believing anyone that. What happened to that comment on Facebook? Oh, there it is. Derek is gossiping. What am I gossiping about? That threw me off my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, I know what I'm saying. So I got in this discussion today with someone. I have a hard time believing anyone that works at the Walker County Sheriff's Office and has worked there for the, say, past 3 years. I'll say 2 years. I have a hard time believing they never saw anything corrupt. I have a very hard time believing they didn't know there were corrupt things going on. Now, I'm not saying they all participated in it because I don't believe that. I'm sure there are some that have never participated in it. But being silent about it is just as bad in law enforcement. No matter what. Again, I worked in the business for a long time. I was a supervisor. I was an investigation supervisor, SWAT. I was also a leader in the military and deployed to war zones. There's no excuse for not speaking up when you see somebody doing something illegal in law enforcement. None. And I have a very hard time believing that anybody that has worked at the Walker County Sheriff's Office for at least the past 2 years has never seen anything illegal. I have a hard time believing that. If they haven't, then they're not a good police officer anyway, because they're very unobservant. But I also know that the agency has been being investigated by the FBI now for over the past year. And I'm sure some of them have spoke up and maybe still working there. I'm not saying that for a fact. I would bet that some of them have gone to the FBI and said, look, I saw this, I saw that. And they may still be working there. If that's the case, then yeah, I don't have a problem with those people. But somebody that works there and looks you in the face and says, oh, I've never seen anything happen, they're lying, because it's not a large agency. They have like 80-something employees. I worked at a much larger sheriff's office, a way larger one. And if just 5 deputies there, employees, would have been corrupt, I would have known about it. So you're not going to convince me that an agency of 80 people and there was well over 10 that's been federally indicted for being corrupt and you didn't know about any of it? No. Again, if you really didn't, you're not observant at all, which makes you a horrible law enforcement officer. Look, I'll have a discussion with anyone. I enjoy having discussions with people who disagree with me, as long as it's civil. I love it. I love debating. But when you get on here and you just say, I'm gossiping, I'm specifically asking you, what am I gossiping about? Answer the question. You can't just say, I'm gossiping. What are you saying I'm gossiping about? Because I would like an opportunity to speak on that, to respond to that. Because I am very careful at, if I don't know something for a fact, I'm very careful to say that. To say, hey, this is pure speculation on my part, or this is just something I heard, so don't quote this. I mean, I'm very careful about that. For one, I hate getting yelled at, and bad text from my lawyer, and my wife. So I'm very careful about that because I don't want sued. And so far, I've not been successfully sued at all. So I've been to Walker County quite a few times in the last 6 months. I don't announce it, obviously. But one time when I went to Walker County, and I have video evidence of this, only 2 people knew I was coming up there, and it was 2 people I was coming to meet. That's it. Like, nobody else knew. I didn't tell anybody, because I wait till after the fact, and I'll say, hey, I was in Walker County today. I don't announce where I'm coming, whether it's Walker County or anywhere. I'm very careful about that. And so the 2 people I was going to meet there, had a meeting with, are the only 2 people that knew I was coming. And as soon as I got into like town, into Jasper, well, no, I don't even remember I don't even think I was in Jasper yet. Maybe I was in Oakman. I can't remember, but I'd gotten to where it was a little more populated, and there was a train track, and a train was going across the track, and so traffic was stopped. And I looked behind me because I'm on high guard, and there's a man in a black Dodge pickup truck, and he's got his cell phone up at his windshield, and he's filming me. And I was like, what the hell? So I immediately turned my cameras on. And again, I've got all this on camera. I showed it on One Live one night, back not long after it happened. But so I've got him on camera. I mean, you can see it's very clear. And I was like, what the hell? And so I'm trying to, in my mind at that time, I was like, Maybe he was videoing the train. I don't, trying to. I'm trying to make myself not believe what I'm seeing. And so train finally gets through. I go over the train track, and I'm like, I'm losing this guy. Like I know how to not get followed. And so I take God knows how many turns. I don't even remember how many turns. I've got it all on video. But I took quite a few turns to lose him. And I lost him. And so I was like, all right, I'm good now. And I get turned back around and everything. And I get to about a block from where I was going. And that damn guy in that truck was sitting, his truck was sitting in the middle of the road, blocking both lanes. And again, I've got it on video, and I was like, holy shit. So like, I'm ready to go to war. I'm like, this is it. Like, I'm about to have to take somebody out. Because at that time I realized, okay, they knew exactly where I was going, because when I lost them, they just came on up here and they're waiting on me. And as soon as I turn and I see him blocking the road right there, I'm immediately thinking, I'm about to look behind me and somebody's going to be blocking the road behind me, and there's about to be one hell of a shootout. But I look behind me and nobody's behind me. So I do a very fast U-turn in a little driveway in the road there, and I get the hell out of there. And then I drove way off and eventually went to where I was going. And at that point, I was very paranoid. So paranoid, when I walked out of the meeting, I searched my entire truck to make sure nobody had put anything on it, such as an explosive or something. But yeah, so that happened one time when I went up there in the past 6 months. So, I mean, the place is crazy. Yeah, I showed it one live. I've still got it. I'll pull it back up and show it. Remind me Monday. What is the date for? Remind me Monday night, and I'll show it again. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. Well, I guess this Pamela Ratliff is not going to tell us what I'm gossiping about. Oh, Pamela looks like a Karen. That's a Karen right there. Hands down. This old white woman probably hates life. Yeah, that woman don't like life. The thing about her front porch is just right down the road from my front porch. Well, I probably went by your front porch. When was I in Hamilton again? Yesterday. I spent the day in Hamilton yesterday, or half the day. But Nina is talking about Karen Wheaton does her front porch friends video. If you've not seen my last two, they're short, but my last two podcasts, short videos, they're on all the platforms. Make sure you check those out. They're the last two are about the ramp, the cult disguised as a ministry that's home base out of Hamilton, Alabama, and Karen Wheaton, their leader. But go check those out. They a lot of information in those, or in the first one for sure. The second one is just me proving that Karen Wheaton is a POS and is not a Christian. She's not. She's got a lot of people fooled. And again, I proved that in the last video I did. But the thing about Walker County, and I need to make this more clear more often. When I'm talking about Walker County, I'm not talking about the citizens of Walker County. The citizens of Walker County is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I've gotten all the messages. I've talked to tons of these people on the phone. I've had these conversations that are just heartbreaking of the things that they're dealing with and the way they're treated and the things they've gone through and their family members have gone through. That's why I do what I do. And it pisses me off when I see people comment, and I'm not talking about on here, I'm just in general, because there's always somebody commenting on my stuff that I'm acting as if I'm making fun of Walker County, the citizens, or talking bad about the citizens and Walker. Like, you're talking about my county. No, I'm not. I'm wanting to help make your county better and a actual good place to live that's not corrupt, where you can have law enforcement that you can actually trust and that will do their jobs. Because the amount of conversations I've had with Walker County citizens that have literally been done so wrong, and the amount that I've had with people that are legitimately scared for their life to speak out at all, that literally break down crying on the phone because they're so scared that somebody may find out they talked to me and gave me information. I mean, the amount of those conversations I have, I couldn't even count them. That's what I'm doing there. Walker County is full of amazing people. And I'm not just saying that. When the when the little boy went missing, for instance, Jonathan Bowley. Now, I went up there I was up there when he was found. But the amount of people that came out and was volunteering, going through the woods, searching in the rain, and everything, it was a sight to see. I mean, there were hundreds of Walker County citizens there. They didn't know him or his family. They just wanted to help. Now, there were also tons of people from all over the state and some other states. But there were a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good people there. A lot. And that was proof of that. So when you see somebody acting like I'm downing Walker County as far as the citizens and all, it just pisses me off so bad, because I'm like, no, that's why I'm speaking out so much. I did one video on Nick Smith because I was pissed. And when I learned about everything happening, I was like, I got to speak out against this guy. And I did one video. And at that point, I mean, I had no plans to do more. But it went viral. And then the more, and once I put that video out, I started getting all these messages from these citizens there. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, because horrible stories, one after another. And so the rest is history. And I'm not going to shut up until the place is changed, however long that takes. But yeah, the citizens of Walker County they're tired of this. They don't want to live like that anymore. Like, could you imagine living in a place where you literally can't call the police no matter what? Because you know that either, number one, they're not going to do anything, or they're going to harm you. Could you imagine living like that in the United States of America, in Alabama? There are hundreds and hundreds of citizens in Walker County that feel like that right now. They call me. I get calls all the time. And it's tough for me to tell them, you need to call the sheriff's office. And they're like, I'm like, there's no other choice. But when they really need the police, they don't know what to do. It's unbelievable. And it pisses me off that these people are having to live like that. Or the amount of females I've talked to that have called the sheriff's office, and a deputy, or in at least 2 cases, the chief deputy, and unfortunately I've seen the freaking evidence. I don't need to see it anymore. So everybody else who's done this too, don't send me the evidence. I trust me. I trust you. In at least 2 instances, the chief deputy shows up and gets their phone number for the report, and the next day sends them unwanted, unrequested, illicit pictures of himself. I've personally spoken to 2. Hell, it may be 3, but I know for sure it's 2 of those victims. And they're upset, like they don't know what to do. And they know if they call the sheriff's office and complain, they're going to be targeted. And they're right. Because them I told, no, don't call the sheriff's office. Don't call the sheriff. Trust me, that's going to put a target on you. And Nick Smith knows about those. And Ralph Williams is still his chief deputy. You do that one time, you should be fired and never allowed back in law enforcement again. Now, luckily, we know A Post is going to pull Ralph Williams' certification and Nick Smith's. That's happening. They've already said that. Just don't know exactly when. I'm guessing after the criminal case is over. But both of them are losing their law enforcement certifications at some point soon. So it can't come fast enough for Ralph Williams. That man has no business in law enforcement. None. But could you imagine being a single female and calling the police because your ex-boyfriend is stalking you and harassing you and threatening you, and you live by yourself with your small child, and you call the sheriff's office, and the chief deputy himself comes out and tells you, oh yeah, we're going to do something about this. We're going to protect you. And the next day he sends you a D pic. And you get this text message like, what, and what? Could you imagine that? I have no words for that. But nowhere I've ever worked, if you did that one time, you're fired. You're not asked to resign. You're fired. As you should be. Well, Ralph Williams is still there. So do you think they're ever going to call the sheriff's office again, no matter what? No. Both of them told me that. So what are they supposed to do? And nobody, one time when I brought this up and somebody said, why don't they just move? You better not get on here and say that because you're going to get it from me. You're not going to be spoken to nice. Some people can't just up and move. They don't have the financial means for that. Plus, that's not what they should have to do. Hell, I've got another case that I'm looking into, and this is not in Walker County. Let me be clear. This is not in Walker County. This is a completely different county, and I'm not going to tell the county or anything right now because I'm not talking about it publicly yet. But I've got a woman in another county that she has a court order from the judge of that county that she's not allowed to move anywhere. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, this is the United States of America. This is not Russia. This is not China. A judge can't tell you just can't move anywhere else. No matter what, they can't do that. And she's not under any kind of criminal investigation. She's not a suspect in anything. She's not been arrested for anything. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that I hear on a daily basis. It's just crazy. But there are some people, and I also, especially if you're not from Alabama, don't think that it's like this all over Alabama because it's not. It's just these are the ones we talk about because they need awareness brought to them. But there are tons of great sheriff's offices. There are tons of great sheriffs in this state and police chiefs, tons of them. And quite a few agencies that are legit as can be and, I mean, know what they're doing and they're just great. But again, the ones that get the attention are the bad ones because we need to bring attention to them, awareness, so everybody understands, so we can try to do something. But some of the things I hear, like I said, it's crazy. And I'll be honest, there's been a lot of conversations I've had where somebody will start telling me something, and in my mind, I'm saying, you're lying through your teeth to me. Like, there's no way that's true. There is no way. And then they send me the proof, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's the kind of stories I hear sometimes that I literally cannot believe it's happening. Well, and I'm not saying I agree with it. But anyway, she said she went through a divorce in 2021, and the judge said she can't leave the state. I'm guessing that probably has to do with child custody or something. But I mean, that's not the most uncommon thing for child custody cases. as far as can't leave the state. This woman is not allowed to move. She was wanting to move closer to her children's father, literally. And the judges signed an emergency order saying she's not allowed to move. And you say, oh, emergency order is just temporary. It's been that way. It's been temporary for 2 years. It's crazy. But that was the first thing I thought. I was like, nah, it says she can't leave the state. No, she's not allowed to move at all. It's crazy. Let me tell you, a judge doesn't have that authority in this country. They don't. They can't tell you just can't move. Now, if you live in Shelby County, you literally have one of the best law enforcement agencies in the state. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office is as top-notch as it gets. For sure. Yeah, you're very lucky if you live in Shelby County because that sheriff's office is, again, they're top-notch from the top down. I mean, I'm sure they probably have a couple assholes here and there, but you're not going to deal with corruption there. That sheriff is not going to put up with corruption. But they're highly trained. They're paid very well, which brings in really good officers, and they're just good all the way around. But long before my time, their sheriff, he worked where I worked. He worked in the same narcotics unit I worked in long before my time because he's much older than me. But I've never heard anything bad about the man. But if you're in law enforcement and looking for another agency, or if you're looking to get in law enforcement, try to go to work for Shelby County. Because you're going to get paid what you're worth. You're going to have the best equipment, best training. You're going to have it all. It's a great place. I'm going to check right quick and see. I doubt she has, but before I get off, I want to check and see if Karen Wheaton has put out another video. Oh, and also sometime next week we're gonna really start digging into Perry Stone as well. Because my God, the more I learn about that guy, worse it gets with him. No, she hasn't put out another one since that last one we watched on the old dirt road. And I go over that video in my last short video I put out. I think it was yesterday. So again, make sure you go check that out. I still can't believe she made that. begging people to bring their kids to their summer camps right now in the midst of all this. Wow. What's my take on Decatur City? I mean, the only thing I can speak on them about is that one incident with where they were assisting the tow truck driver or whatever, and they were in the officers and supervisors that were on duty then that worked that were in the complete wrong. I can't. That they should not have been doing what they were doing. I'm not saying they purposely, like, I don't think they knew what was going to happen. But that they took that man's life by horrible, horrible tactics. In other words, nothing should have happened to that man. Oh, this just popped up. Here, we got to I'm going to show this up right quick, and then probably going to go for the night. Katie Hall, and if you're not following her on, you can find her on Facebook, Katie Watson Hall. She posted this is funny. We need a good laugh. If you can't read the caption, when the late night DoorDash driver forgets to put the car in park. Oh, that's loud.
Save you walking out here.
And there goes his car.
Cody Hall. Present it. Uh-oh. You all right?
Oh, I kind of hate to laugh at that because I feel sorry for the guy, but that's still funny. Gotta watch it one more time.
Cody Hall. Present it. Uh-oh.
About the time he realizes his car is gone, you hear the crash. Poor guy. I don't know which is worse, my last DoorDash driver encounter, because I did show y'all that, right? I'm almost positive I did. But yeah, a few weeks ago, my live was about to start, and my wife had ordered DoorDash, and I just so happened to look on because I've got all my security cameras, the big monitor pulled up here where I can see everything. And I just glanced up at my security cameras, and I see a car parked in front of my house on the road. And then I see like two people down on the ground behind the car. And so my initial immediate thinking is, oh my God, my wife has gone out there to get this food and they're trying to take her. Like somebody's trying to take her or something. So I run out and I get about halfway down the drive. Well, I don't even get halfway down the driveway when I realize, okay, it's not my wife, but there's two people on the ground fighting, like literally fighting. And then I see a cell phone go flying. Anyway, it was the DoorDash driver and his girlfriend, and apparently she had gotten his phone and found something in it. And she was beating him. She was a lot bigger than him, and she had him down on the ground. But when I get about halfway down the driveway, I start yelling at them, and so they jump up like nothing's happening. And anyway, but I showed that video on here a couple nights ago. Yeah, I don't know, these DoorDash drivers. All right, yeah, that's all I got for tonight. We've been going for over 3 hours anyway. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you for being on here. I truly mean that. I can't do any of this without all of you. And we got a lot more to do. We have a long way to go. I have really big plans. If you've been following me, you know. And we're going to get there at some point, but I can't do it by myself. Like I said, I need all of you all. But I truly appreciate all the support. And again, if you're not following me, subscribing, whatever, please do that. I'd really appreciate it. Please watch my videos, listen to my podcast, watch them all the way through, hit the like button on them, repost them, comment on them. All those things help push them out and helps bring more awareness to the stories I'm covering. But I really appreciate all of that. And if there's anything I can do for any of you, don't hesitate to message me. It may take me a while to get to your message, but at some point I will. And if I can help you, I will. If you have any information, whether it be on something I'm covering or something you'd like for me to cover, send that to us. And you can either send those messages to one of my social media inboxes, but the best way to make sure that I see it and respond is to email agentdbaker315@gmail.com. It's agentdbaker315@gmail.com. Send that to the email address. And if you send me any information, any sensitive information that you're worried about telling somebody, whatever the case may be. But anyway, I never repeat anyone's names. If you send me something, I will never, ever repeat your name to anyone. Not law enforcement, no one. I will never repeat your name. My team doesn't even see the names. I pull the information out and I send that to my research team and investigative team, and they get the information, but they don't know who sends stuff. And I'm very, very careful about that. It's very important to me, and it's the way it will always be. So you can rest assured if you send me information, you're going to be safe as far as nobody's going to know. And I will also never put anything out where anybody would be able to say, well, I know who told him that. Again, I'm very careful about that. And I take that very serious. But if you have any information, please send that. That helps us a lot. And if you're interested, if you or somebody you know is interested in being a guest on the podcast, you can contact us either at that email address, the agentdbaker315@gmail.com, or you can contact Christy Bryant Robinson on Facebook. She does my booking stuff for me. So you can send her a message on Facebook and she'll get up with you and then we'll go from there. But other than that, I hope y'all have a great rest of your, well, Friday night's gone, but I hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And I will be back Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. You can always catch my lives Mondays and Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central, and Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central. And then sometimes I'll go live on a Saturday if some big news is going on or something, but not every Saturday. But I will see y'all back Monday night. Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences. This podcast contains explicit language, dark themes, and real conversations that are not suitable for children and may be triggering for some individuals. If you choose to continue, do so knowing this content is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.